after that, while I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his coffee machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful, except for maybe my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate lima beans. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot, I got soap in my eyes, my marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad pajamas. I hate my railroad pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that, even in Australia. So what do you think the message, the theme that the author was trying to get across in this story? George?
That he was going to move to Australia.
Well, he was going to move to Australia, but why was he going to move, Jared?
He had bad luck.
Yeah, he was having a bad day, but what do you think when his mom told him at the end of the story that everyone has bad days, even in Australia? What's the author trying to say, Ernesto?
That everybody has bad days. Not just him.
That's exactly right. So everybody has bad days. So even if he moves to Australia, he's still going to eventually have a bad day, right? No matter where you live. Y'all had bad days before, haven't you? Maybe not this bad, but you wake up and have bad days sometimes. So what about the plot? So if we're looking for the plot, what are we looking for in this story? Angel, you told me what plot was earlier. What is that? Can you remind everybody?
It's an event.
The events. So the events that happened that led up to his bad day. So name a couple of things that happened that made him have a bad day. Alexis? Yeah, gum in his hair. All right, David? He tripped. Okay, what about Nada? Do what? I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Can you speak a little louder? He hit his foot? Is that what you said? I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Can you hear Alexis? The elevator? He hit his foot on the elevator. Okay, yeah, that's right, Nada. Do you have your nose? You did, what do you think? When his brother pushed him in the mud. Yeah, that made his day worse. Alexis?
The teacher told him he sang too loudly.
He sang too loudly. Okay, so we're going to write some of these down. And so we're going to label this story number 2, so we can keep it separated. And we're going to write it in a different color. Who can tell me why I might use a different color to write on this side? All right, Jessica.
Because the first story that we read was the title was a different color, and the second story that we read was a different color.
That's right. So what will it help us maybe if it's in a different color?
Yeah.
We'll be able to tell the difference in the stories maybe a little bit better? Okay. So who was the character in this story? Alexander. Okay. And who can tell me what the theme of it was again? What was the author trying to get across? What did you tell me the theme of this story was?
Everybody has bad days.
Everybody has bad days. That's right. Not just him, yes. That's right, Ernesto.
Using story characters.
Okay, so who's the author of this story? Yes, Manuel. The author. Who wrote the story? He's the character. Who wrote the story? George? Judith. Uh-huh. Okay, what about the setting? Did his bad day, did it take place in one bad day or over a couple of days? David? One day, yes. And you can kind of get that from the title. Over and over the story said it. This is going to be a very bad day, or this is a terrible day. So you know it all happened in one day. he have any brothers in this story?
Yes, yes.
He did? Okay, can anyone tell me what the brothers' names are? Nada. Nick? Can anyone know the other brother? Manuel? Nick and Jessica? Anthony. You remember that, Manuel? Nick and Anthony? Okay. He's the character, remember? He's the main character on the front, Alexis. And his brothers are the ones that were like pushing him in the mud. These were his brothers that opened up, breakfast with him in the morning and had prizes. And then Alexander's in the middle. Okay, so now that we have both stories written down, the key details, we are going to compare and contrast these stories using this T-chart. So if we're going to compare them, what's the first thing we're going to look for? George? Something that was the same thing. Okay, so who can raise their hand and tell me something that was similar or the same thing between these two stories? Nada. You can use the T-chart.
They both have the same
They both have the same character, Alexander. Zuri?